Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here to our 7th Skype session. So the purpose of our Skype sessions is to hear about what our social innovators and entrepreneurs are doing in the field so we can show the power of collaborative innovation around the world. We've got, today we're going to end up interviewing Kenton Lee, the founder of Because International. But before we get started with the interview, we're going to ask people to introduce themselves in 2 sentences or less. I will start. I'm Shivani. I'm the co-founder of Impaction, and I'm finishing my master's at George Washington University. Sukanya, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sukanya, and I'm going to finish my master's in human resource management and labor relations. Where do you want to go next?
Sure. So my name is Maribel, and I recently graduated from the social enterprise program. But what I'm more interested in saying today to Kenton Lee is that someone very close to me grew up without shoes, and that was a problem for not being able to go to school. And that, this project you created, it touches me in a very real way because although it's not me, it's someone I love very dearly.
Great. Chetan, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Chetan. I'm currently pursuing my undergraduate in India. And yeah.
Awesome. Tanvi?
Hi guys, I'm Tanvi. I am a product manager with Impaction and I am based off of New Jersey.
Hey, I'm Meghna. I am the UX UI designer for Impaction and I live in Washington, D.C.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. And Kenton, I will go ahead and introduce you before we jump in. So today we are joined by Kenton Lee. Like I said, he is the founder of Because International, a nonprofit that believes everyone living in desperate poverty, especially a child, deserves opportunities to succeed. Its mission is to use the positive cycle of innovation to fight the negative cycle of poverty. Their first product, the shoe that grows, has been designed specifically for kids living in poverty. With shoes, kids are healthier, attend school more often, and are more confident. The shoe that grows has 5 times the impact of ordinary shoes because it expands 5 sizes and lasts for years. Over 180,000 pairs have been distributed in 100 countries. And Kenton is not only an influential social entrepreneur, but he is also a keynote speaker and notable TED speaker. You can check out his TED Talk called "You Don't Need a Doctorate to Make a Difference" online. So before we get started, Kenton, do you want to talk to us a little bit more about your story behind the shoe that grows and Because International and your journey just being here today?
Sure thing. And again, thanks for the opportunity. I love sharing our story and connecting with others. So, I'll just keep it brief, but essentially, this is all unexpected for me. I traveled after college and in the midst of traveling saw lots of needs around the world, lots of hope as well, but one specific challenge just really jumped out at me. And it was, I was living in a small orphanage in Kenya, and one day we were walking with all the kids, and a little girl next to me, probably 8 or 9 years old, and I'll never forget, she had on this beautiful white dress. And as I'm walking next to her, I was just shocked at how small her shoes were. She had on these shoes that were so small, she had to cut open the front to let her toes stick out. And it just really, really got to me. And I started to ask questions about why this little girl and so many other kids at the orphanage had shoes that were just way too small. And through the midst of that, I just had an idea. What if there was a shoe that could grow? What if there was a shoe that could adjust and expand its size, it seemed like it would make sense for these kids. And it's probably the only idea I've ever had. I'm not a engineering type, not a inventor necessarily. But I got back home and wanted to do something, wanted to try to do something to help with some of the challenges that I'd seen around the world, and went back to my notebook, went back to the idea for a growing shoe, and jumped in with it. Took 6 years to work on it. These things often don't happen overnight, so it takes a little while. But my passion grew as I really jumped into it more and more, and then finally made a first batch. Made the product, made a first batch, and it was just a hobby in my life. I never thought it would be more than that. But then about 3.5 years ago, we accidentally went viral, and now it's my life. It's my full-time job. It's just my honor to get to do this every day, and then to have a team of people. We have about 15 people on our team at Because International working on this, and then it's been so fun to grow kind of beyond the shoe. That's how we started, but we really saw that there's just a need for lots of different ways to fight against poverty, and we thought that we could really tackle this mission of using small, innovative products to fight poverty, and that could be our thing, and that we could try to get really good at that. So it started with the shoe that grows. We're going to add more products. We're launching a Pursuit incubator. It's kind of our incubator program to help other people pursue their ideas for great products that can help make a difference. But all of this in an effort to fight poverty and to try to put people in a little better position to succeed. Because for myself, for my team, for I'm sure everyone on the call today, we all believe that everybody deserves a chance to succeed. And if there's anything I can do to try to put someone else in a position to have more chances to succeed, that really gets me up in the morning. I love doing that. So it's been an unexpected journey, and trying to maximize it for all that we can.
So Kenton, I have a question. So you said it took you 6 years to turn your passion into reality. So how did you take your initial approach to make your passion a reality? What are the kind of people you contacted and started towards your mission?
Yeah, great question. I probably didn't do it the right way, but I didn't know a thing about shoes. I didn't know what I was doing. And so the very first thing I did was I just tried to give the idea away. I grabbed my best friend. That was the very first thing I did. So my best friend, Andrew, he and I kind of jumped in together, but he didn't know anything about shoes either. So we tried to give the idea away to a shoe company. I probably contacted 30 or 40 major shoe companies, Nike, Adidas, Tom's, all of these big shoe companies, and just I didn't want anything for it. I just wanted someone to do it. Thought it was a good idea, and everybody said no. A lot of people said not a good idea. This is never going to work. Stuff like that. So then I actually thought I just wasn't explaining it well enough, because I really thought it was a good idea. So I made a little video and then sent it back out to all these same people, and again everybody said no. And so at that point, I actually tried to do it myself. Tried to go out in the garage and make a prototype for a shoe, and just failed miserably at that. I just really had no idea what I was doing. So we reached a point where the big companies didn't want to help us, but I knew I couldn't do it on my own. So started to network, and finally found this really small shoe design company in Portland, Oregon, and they loved it. They loved what we were trying to do, and they helped us for about a year to go through a design process. So in answer to your question, that really was a key relationship to actually get someone in the field who knows what they're doing. I mean, at a certain point, you really do need that, even if you're trying to bootstrap something yourself. At a certain point, you kind of need some expertise from people in the industry. And they were fantastic. They helped us with our first prototype, and then really got us our main design for our shoes. We don't work with them anymore as we've grown. They kind of are just on the design side, but we wouldn't be here today without them. They were an excellent partner.
I have one more question for you.
Sure.
So everybody strives to make their a passion a reality, but some of them fail. So they keep an alternative for that. So from what you're saying, I could realize that you were very passionate to make it a reality, but you might have could have had some circumstances to see that your idea might fail or you need more longer time. So how was the waiting period for you? How did you
Yeah.
come across the stress and believe in your vision still?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've been asked this before, and so I've thought about it. And what it came down to, during those 6 years, it it's not like I knew that these were the 6 years that it's going to take before we are going to be successful. It wasn't like there was a promise of success waiting, and I just needed to get through this period of failure and obstacles and waiting. Um, but really, at the time, my mindset was essentially a couple of things. I was convinced that a growing shoe was a good idea. From the time I spent at the orphanage and seeing these kids who had outgrown their shoes and had no options for more shoes, I just like even shoe industry people, like they couldn't tell me it wasn't a good idea because I was convinced that it was. So that helped because it wasn't like I wondered if this could work or I wondered if it was is this going to be a good idea or not? Like I really knew it. I knew that it was. And so that helped me keep going. But the other thing was, it was the kids that I was around at the orphanage. For me, it wasn't a project. It wasn't a class assignment. It wasn't like, it was really like these kids had become my friends, and I wanted to do something to help my friends. And that's where a lot of my motivation and passion really came from. Was I felt helpless in a lot of ways to help the kids, especially when I was back in the US and they were still in Kenya. But this was one thing I knew I could do, and if I could figure it out, I knew that a shoe like this really could make a difference. It wouldn't solve all their problems, but it could make a difference for these kids who were my friends. So it was just trying to help my friends, and that really kept me going. But I definitely had certain days where I think, is this worth the time? Is this worth all the energy? Why am I trying to do this? And what I would do in those moments, I would try to remember why I'm doing it and all that. But one good trick that actually helped me out, I never bottled those feelings up. If I was feeling like a failure or just really frustrated or really sad, I would really kind of embrace those feelings, but only for a limited time. So I'd give myself an hour, or I'd give myself I'd go watch a movie, and I'd say I'm going to be sad this whole evening, and I'm just going to go watch a movie. I'm not going to do any work. I'm just going to go be sad for a while because someone else said no, or this isn't working, or whatever. But then I would give myself a time limit, and then that was it. And then I'd get back up and what's next on my list? Let's make this happen. So I think that really helped me to not burn out, because I wasn't bottling things up so that someday there was this big explosion of frustration and I just throw in the towel and quit. But just little times I let myself be sad, and then kept going. But it's funny, when you're in the midst of something, you don't know that you're in the middle of it. You really have to have your motivation. You have to know why you're doing it, and then you just have to kind of do whatever you need to do to keep going. That's that's my main advice. Do whatever you need to do to keep going, and hopefully what you're chasing after, hopefully you know that it's worth it.
Thank you so much for answering my question. That was so inspirational, and it
Well,
keeps
and
motivating future entrepreneurs. So
well, you are welcome, and for you young ladies with Impaction, I see this in you. I hope you keep going. I hope you don't stop. And for others on the call with anything else that you are working on or are gonna work on someday, yeah, if you think this is what you're working on, if you think it's a solution, it's an improvement, it's something that can make a difference, don't stop. You know, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to be tough. Like, those are just guarantees. But if you really think it's going to make a difference, don't stop. You have to keep going, because the world really does need big and small solutions, big and small impact, so that we can all have more chances to succeed.
Actually, my follow-up question was regarding to the change, as in, like, you have a more product-based innovation, right, based off of social impact, and something that we talked about last week, and I believe the week before that, was about creating systemic change. So being able to alter not only local communities and help local communities with their individual impact, but also create models for scaling a potential innovation to a larger sphere. And I know that especially with the shoe that grows, I know that you're not only now targeting impoverished communities, but you're also meeting consumer demand here in the West. But I wanted to ask a little bit about how you think that more product-based innovations would be able to create a ripple effect, and how, if you think that that's the case, and how something like that may be able to transpire and help larger communities in the future. What is the future of product-based innovations?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for us, we keep it pretty simple. We First of all, we recognize we do not have all the answers. I am not an expert on this by any means, but as I see it, as I understand it, and as Because International understands it, we really believe that capitalism is the one of the large scale answers to poverty, and that within capitalism, like, that's where we fit. So we believe in innovation. We believe, and then for us specifically, our lane is product-based innovations, and even within that, smaller things. We're never going to make something gigantic, or like a car, something like that. So for us, we feel like the more opportunities that we can provide for entrepreneurs that have ideas for great small products, that those small products can hopefully be products that provide a solution or solve a problem or provide more value. Like, in and of themselves, the products can be useful and bring value. And then definitely the jobs and the economy that comes through these products turning into businesses, that there's incredible value there. And that's all to say that we just think capitalism is essentially one of those large-scale answers to fighting poverty. And even in a small way, and we know that it's small, but if our with our shoes, we employed about the equivalent of about 19 full-time people in Ethiopia producing our shoes this past year. We did 10,000 pairs in 2017. We did 20,000 pairs at a small local factory in 2018. It's about 50 people that were employed for 4 months. So anyway, if you take it out over the whole year, it's about 19 people. But all that to say, through that, and then through our Pursuit Incubator, as we help more products happen and more businesses, and hopefully they employ lots of people, all those people are going to be paying taxes. That increases the tax base, which then the government can help provide more of that safety net for families who are struggling and kids who are struggling. And like in just so many ways, we see so many benefits of capitalism. And that's kind of where, and then here in the US, yeah, we kind of stretch that out to, could our product be useful here? And we think it might. And so we've started a retail company here in the US, and a lot of the profit will go back to our nonprofit organization so we can keep making more of these small innovations happen. But for us, it's that cycle. It's that cycle of innovation, great products that have value, bringing jobs and economy. We really feel like that's our way of joining this fight against poverty. And it's something that we really can get behind. I know so many people are on board with kind of, business as a way to fight poverty, whether that's extremely corporate or very small business and micro loans and whatever it might be. But that's, yeah, we recognize we're super small, but we even looking at some of the Millennium Development Goals or the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, we can see where we fit in there. Like we really see like we can be a part of this, even though we're a super small nonprofit. Like we could be a part of this, and that I love it. Like I love the collaboration. I love the way that even small organizations, we're not the WHO or the UN or anything like that. But we can fight poverty. We can do our part to help. And again, that gets me going. I love it. I love the thought of trying to do things together, because in many ways we are not going to create systemic change, but if we could be a small part of something larger that can create that systemic change, we have to do those things. Like we have to. So I love what you all are doing, helping spread the news about great social innovators and social impact ideas and organizations and efforts, because it's all like we're all on the same team, and I love that. That was a long answer. I'm sorry, I talked way too long on that one.
No, I appreciate that. That was a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah. I would actually like to know like what your thought process was behind choosing a non-profit structure instead of a for-profit one behind this initiative.
Yeah, great question. If we would have started today, it might have been more of a discussion of what structure should we have. When we were first getting started, it was easily a nonprofit, because we just if we didn't have donations, we weren't going to have anything happen. So that was the main part, and it really, like, the spirit of it was very much a nonprofit. We just wanted to help kids. We just wanted to make our shoes and get them to these kids. As we got started, I had no idea it would turn into what it has turned into today. And so along the way, we did have more discussions about our structure and what would be the best. Should we stop being a nonprofit? Should we completely be a for-profit? Should we start a separate for-profit, which we ended up doing? Yeah, we still have discussions about that, but something that really came up for us was we love our donors, we love our supporters, and we really see such a partnership with them that they might never work in the way that we work. Like they might never go to Africa, never go to Central America, never go to Haiti. They might never have an idea for a great product, but they want to be a part of something too. And the nonprofit structure allows you to, in really easy ways, invite people into your mission, with small donations and large donations. It just is such a great way to invite people into your mission. And we loved doing that at the beginning. And in many ways, that's one main reason why we're still a nonprofit, is just that base of support from our donors. We really feel like we're in partnership with them. But then in a great way, we were able to start a separate for-profit company to take advantage of retail sales, consumer sales here in the U.S. And as we move forward, there might be more opportunities for us to create other structures that would be a good fit as we move forward.
Really, thank you for that answer. But like a short follow-up question on that. Do you think that this shoe that grows concept could actually work with a lot of millennial mothers these days, especially the ones that are wanting to be more environmentally conscious and also cost conscious? That something that a one purchase could, you know, grow with their kids?
Yes, definitely. So I mean, that's one of the main reasons we started a retail form of our shoes, was so that we heard a lot of people asking if they could buy them, which kind of surprised us. And then we really thought more about it and decided to jump in with it. And so that's one of our main target markets is the moms and dads who are, maybe a little bit younger. They appreciate using their purchasing power to do social good, and things that are good for the earth, and even just things that are different. And so for us, we've got sizing now down from toddlers all the way up to a men's 13. So whether they want them to buy them for their kids or whether they want to buy it for themselves, they could purchase a pair of our growing shoes. And we think it's going to be just a really cool product for a lot of people out there. And we're very excited. And again, the main thing that excites us is how can we use the hopefully large amounts of revenue to help fund what we're doing on the nonprofit side. And how cool would it be someday, in the next couple of years, to be able to point to other ideas, other entrepreneurs who have gone through our incubator program, that we can essentially say, these products, these businesses have been started because people bought our retail shoes and helped fund, these amazing new products. So we're so excited to really launch this. We started with a Kickstarter in the summer, and that went great. And our first order is being made right now. And in March of 2019, we'll have that first order available. And we'll really start to kind of ramp up the commercial shoes in March. So we're looking forward to seeing how that goes, and just excited to see what happens.
Wow, great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to gift some of these as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, I love it.
I did have a quick question. Well, maybe not quick, but it could be as a follow-up. I know we did follow-ups last week with another speaker, and one was about how you can do things with your nonprofit and with your for-profit, not just through the products, but if you think about through getting to roots of the issue. I think it's very hard sometimes to have something like a product and say, okay, this is solving the problem now, but looking at maybe the other face of capitalism, which is the increasing wealth and income gap between people, and that being, I think, one of the roots of the issue of poverty. Is there space for a company like yours to do something about it, or is it just part of the conversation? And I thank you for being, one of the examples of how capitalism can be one of the positive forces out there.
Great, wonderful question. I know we've just got a minute or two. I'm happy to answer briefly. I really do believe that, even though there's potential for great misuse of money within the capitalism, structure, and we've seen that, and it's there easily. There's also just such benefit that comes out of it too. So I think in so many ways we want to be good leaders, good stewards. I mean, even in all honesty, the for-profit company, our nonprofit owns half, and then I own the other half. And do I hope that it does extremely well? Of course. Like I'd love that, and partially I would love that because if I have access to more capital personally, I know that I'm going to do good things with that, and it's the donors that we work with, the supporters that we have, a lot of them have great wealth, and they choose to use it in ways that benefit the world, and we love that. We love connecting with people who have wealth and who also have that heart and that almost that self-awareness that it's kind of that Spider-Man phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. Like with wealth comes great responsibility. Like you need to be using this to do good things. And so I know there are people out there like that. I know that is motivation for a lot of people who are starting great businesses, is that they want to do well so that they can be generous, and they can be a blessing to others. And I love that. I don't ever want to take that away just because some people abuse that. But and that's again where I think, Impaction and others who are propping up good stories and propping up good people and showing that there's a different way. Like you don't have to just, go live on a beach somewhere and just throw your money away at stuff that doesn't matter. Like you can do great things with your money. With the rise of impact investing, with the rise of even just, B Corps, which is something that we are applying for our retail company. We want people to know that even though we're all about capitalism, we want to sell as many shoes as we can, that we want to do it in the right way. We want to treat our employees well, we want to treat the earth well. So I can see a path forward. It's going to need leaders. It's going to need great examples. And there are a lot out there. And in many ways, like culture, and I think it's getting there, like I think with the rise of younger leaders who just understand this at a deeper level than maybe some older leaders, I think we just get it, that we don't need millions of dollars so that we can be incredibly comfortable. Like we can still take care of ourselves and our families, but we can use our wealth and our power to do great things, and so that other people have chances. And I'll finish with this. For me, part of my motivation too is I've had people when I had nothing, relatively, but like just when I didn't know what I was doing and I needed a lot of help, I had people come help me, and I had people encourage me and support me. And in so many ways, I want to do that for other people now. I want to help other people as they're in their moments of needing something. I see this as it's my turn to come back and do my part to help. And I think more leaders are going to do that. And I think, again, that business and capitalism can provide an incredible framework for this to happen. But we're all going to need to hold each other accountable and to ask good questions like you just asked, and to keep telling those good stories of people making a difference.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. But I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Kenton, for agreeing to interview with us. And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. This was great.